Swamin namaste natalokabandho karunya sindho patitam bhababdhau mamuddharatmiya kataksha drishtya rijvyati karunya sudhabhivrishtya Swamin namaste, Swamin namaste, Swamin namaste, Swamin namaste. Jnanaswarupam nijabhavayuktam anandamanandakaram prasannam Yogindramidhyam bhavarogavadyam Srimadgurum nityamaham namami Srimadgurum nityamaham namami Nityaya satyaya chidatmakaya Navyaya bhavyaya paratparaya Shuddhaya buddhaya niranjanaya Namostu nityam Gurushekaraya Namostu nityam Gurushekaraya Namostu nityam Gurushekaraya. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru. I was listening to Namrata's announcement and I was myself wondering whether really I have taken all of you step by step on this path. But it is true that this path is very, very blissful. And every step fills one with joy. So, I think this is what we have been discussing, and this is the most important thing, that we keep ourselves connected to God, remain established in our real identity, the knowledge that I am the self, the changeless, imperishable, eternal self. I'm not this changeful body, mind, intelligence, etc. And I'm not identified with them. This one thought actually should revolve and revolve and revolve in the mind. It should not ever go away. But the thing is that we are so much identified with our body and this whole world that this truth that I am the self, that God permeates and pervades everything, He is inside us, that I am God's, I belong to God. Everything that I do, I think, I speak, all my limbs, my mind, intelligence, the senses, the pranas, the life forces, everything is because of God. He only creates, He sustains, He dissolves. This truth, even though we know, we forget it. We forget it when we are in the world doing activities especially. Our mind goes deep into our activities. Let it be activities we have to do. We have to work. We are in this world. And God has given us a lot of work to do. Physical work, mental work. Many have to raise the family, raise children. We who are in the ashram, we have got ashram duties and activities. So we are active. And in that activity also, we can remember our true identity. We can. But the fact is that we forget. Just like a person who is working in the office, if the son or wife is critically sick, is in the hospital, whatever involvement he has in the work, he will never forget that the son or wife is sick. Similarly, why can we not remember that we are a part of God and the God is everywhere in everything? We forget. A very beautiful shloka is there, heard it first from Swamiji. And after the last week's session, when I was thinking about all this, I was remembering only the last two words. So I went and asked Swamiji, what is that shloka? So Swamiji told the shloka, and I asked Pranati to give it to me. So this is from Varaha Upanishad, number 82. It says, Punkhanupunkha Vishayekshana Tatparopi Brahmavalokana na jahati yogi Sangeeta talalaya vadya vasham gatapi Maulistha kumbha parirakshana dhinativa Punkhanupunkha Vishayekshana Tatparopi Brahmavalokana na jahati yogi Sangeeta talalaya vadya vasham gatapi Maulistha kumbha parirakshana dhinativa. It is talking about a yogi, a realized person. And it says, a realized person, whatever comes in front of him, he does. Yada yat kartumayati tada tat kurute rijuhu. He does whatever work comes in front of him. He doesn't make any differentiation that this I like and this I don't like. This I don't want to do now, I will do later. He just does. And with happiness, he does. So, such a yogi, such a realized person, although interested in viewing the objects one after another, so whatever comes, he is quite curious, he is quite interested. He will put his mind into it, he will look at it. Like a series of arrows following one after another. So, suppose somebody is throwing arrows from the bow one after another. To us also, various things keep on coming one after another. Suppose I'm not doing any physical work also, the mind is active. And we know how many thoughts are coming one after another. So this yogi, the realized person, to him also series of activities or incidents are just coming in front of him. He does not abandon the intellect which perceives Brahman. So what does he do? It's not that he forgets Brahman. His intelligence gets involved into whatever is happening in front of him. Some he must be just seeing, some he must be acting upon. Saying that, he does not forget Brahman. His intelligence does not forget Brahman. And what is the simile given here? Beautiful simile, just see. Just like the dancer who although under the influence of music, rhythm, instrumental accompaniments, etc., yet her intellect is involved in preserving the picture on her head. Do you understand? The simile given, that a dancer is dancing and is dancing with a picture on the head. She is dancing along with the music, along with the percussion instruments. Maybe some song is going on in the rhythm, the tala, the laya, everything. And she has to dance. She has to dance very well. And she is having a picture on the head. So though her intelligence is making her dance in a very beautiful manner, her intelligence is also preserving the picture on the head and not allowing the picture to fall off. That is, one part of her mind is on the picture and it's preserving it, not allowing it to fall. Similarly, a realized person, a yogi, he does everything, not forgetting Brahman. Can we not do it? Can we not do it? Just a simple dancer who is on the stage dancing and everybody will be praising the dance. And what is her work? To be dancing and also keep the intellect on the picture. If that can be done for any worldly activity, why is she dancing? Maybe she will be praised, she will be given a reward. If for that we can divide our intellect to the dance also and to the picture also, why can we not do it for Brahman, for God, for our indweller? How do we forget that? Punkhanupunkha vishayekshana tatparopi brahmavalokana na jahati yogi Sangita talalaya vadya vasham gatapi maulistha kumbha parirakshana dhinativa Punkhanupunkha vishaya ikshana tatparaha api. Although interested in viewing the objects one after the another, like a series of arrows following one after another, this punkha means feathered portion of the arrow. So punkhanupunkha vishaya ikshana tatparaha api. That he is very tatparaha, he is very much interested to see all the vishayas, all the things happening, all the objects going in front of him, just like the arrows. Yogi Brahma avalokana dhyam na jahati. The yogi does not abandon the intellect which perceives Brahman. Nati iva, just like the dancer. Sangita tala laya vadya vasham gatapi. The dancer who, although under the influence of music, rhythm, instrumental accompaniments, etc., maulistha kumbha parirakshana dhihi, yet her intellect is involved in preserving the picture on her head. She is able to do that. Why is she doing? Because there is some kind of desire to dance properly, to be praised, appreciated, maybe some remuneration. And there is a love for the dance, love to excellently dance, keeping a picture on the head and still dancing away without the picture falling. That excellence. So that love for the dance, we have to love Brahman, we have to love God, we have to love the self. Then only we will remember. Just like a person, as I took the example, whose son or wife, if they are sick, however busy he may be, however in a high position he may be, however far away he may be from them, the mind will be thinking about them alone, even if involved in any activity. Why? Because of the love. So, we must love. How will we love? Whom we have not seen, whom we cannot perceive, we cannot touch, smell, see, speak to. Nothing we can do. So we have to think about him. All that description is there about his attributes, about his Leela, about the excellences. We must hear them, think about them, and think that he is very powerful. He is everywhere. And mostly what we should do is understand that we belong to him. Now we are considering that everything belongs to me. My body, my hands, my limbs, my eyes, my nose, everything belongs to me. My activities, my speech, my possessions, my family, everything belongs to me. I, the I-ness and the mindness. We have to give up that idea, my dear children. We have to give up that idea, and in that place constantly fill it with its sweet nectar. I belong to God. I belong to the Creator. If you don't want to say God, say the Creator, the power, the Supreme Being. There is some power which creates us, which looks after us, all that we do, including everything in this world. Seasons come one after another. Seasonal fruits and flowers come one after another. The rains come, the summer comes, the winter comes. When there is rain and thunder, there will be lightning. When the lightning is there, there will be sound. All that can be controlled. We cannot even control what will happen to us. What is our future? Nothing we can control. So this thought with lot of love, lot of feelings, that there is some creator there, or a supreme there, a God there, Brahman, who is the source of everything. Who is the source of everything here. Gatir bharta prabhu sakshi nivasa sharanam surit prabhava pralayasthanam nidhanam bijam abhyayam. Gatir bharta prabhu sakshi nivasa sharanam surit prabhava pralayasthanam nidhanam bijam abhyayam. It says, the Supreme is the goal, Gatihi. Bharta, the sustainer, Prabhu, he is the Lord. Sakshi, he is the witness. Nivasaha, it is the ultimate abode. Sharanam, refuge. Suhrit, benefactor. Prabhavaha, the source. Pralayaha, the terminus. Sthanam, the substratum. Bijam abhyayam, the treasure house and the imperishable seed of all. Nidhanam is the treasure house and Bijam abhyayam, imperishable seed of all. There are many such shlokas in Bhagavad Gita. This one is very good. I liked it very much. I want to read this portion from Swamiji's book. The Supreme, I'm reading it because I find I may be telling it, but maybe the proper words I will not get. So I'm reading this. The Supreme is the indestructible seed for the mobile and immobile creation. The entire evanescent variety is its display. Entire evanescent variety, this whole world, the perishable world, is the display of the Supreme, display of the Brahman. None gets disconnected ever from the Supreme, as it is the sole sustenance of all. What does it say? Prabhavaha. Everything is created. Everything is created from this Supreme alone. The Supreme is the source. So if Supreme is the source, it is we, the created beings, our source is that Supreme. How can it be disconnected? We are ever connected. Only thing by some kind of wrong ideas, wrong identification, we simply forget this fact. As to one's family member, so to the Supreme as well, one can fondly look to, feel the Supreme's embrace in calamity and fortune, success and failure alike. That is what. That Supreme's bosom is always there. It is just like a small child in the mother's lap. It is the Supreme from whom we have been created. Whatever happens, just like a child, when the child is hungry, when the child is fearful, when the child is happy, it goes and jumps into the mother's lap. So fondly, with so much joy, with so much of happiness. We, the human beings, we forget our source. And we try to look for happiness everywhere else in this perishable world. We think we'll get happiness from there. We do get, because the Supreme is very kind. He says, okay, you take happiness, but it will not be everlasting happiness at all. Everlasting happiness is in that Shashvatam Padam Abhyayam, the Abhyaya, the indestructible, Shashvata, eternal abode, where is the abode of God, Brahman, the Supreme Lord. So, a yogi, he doesn't forget. And we should also not forget. So for any seeker, what is necessary? Whatever we are doing, my dear children, I want to tell you again and again, again and again, again and again, repeatedly, every day, every moment, because this is what I have been doing to myself. Remind myself that this thing cannot be forgotten. My own real identity cannot be forgotten. I forget. It's true that we forget. But there are moments when we remember. Let those moments become more and more. Remind that I belong to God. Everything that I have belongs to God. Nothing belongs to me. I owe nothing. Is there any difficulty to say these things? Tell the mind these, like very beautiful song. We should be singing this to ourselves. Whenever we are working, the doer-ship should go. Immediately we should feel that yes, God has given me this opportunity. Maybe I am in a very high post, I do work very well, I am very skillful, I am very efficient, I am praised by everybody. Everybody knows me, I am very famous. Nothing belongs to me. I have been given this opportunity. I am an instrument and I should use this opportunity as well. Tava priyartham, I should work. This should be the attitude of any seeker. So, when we do not remember what happens, we identify with this changeful world, which includes our body, mind, intelligence, and ego, everything. And as a result, what happens? I-ness and mindness come. Whenever the I-ness and mindness comes, what will happen? There will be desire, there will be Sangha, delusional clinging. There will be likes and dislikes, and we suffer. We want happiness and peace always. We want to be fearless always. We want to be very stable, poised, and live our life. But it does not happen. Why? Because of this I-ness and mine-ness, our getting identified with the changeful body, mind, intelligence, etc. So, for a spiritual seeker, the whole aim is to be established in the self. Established in the self, in the thought of the self. Nitya yuktata. Nitya yuktata. Get established in this ever-connectedness. This whole world is the expression of God. The supreme power creates, sustains, dissolves, everything it does. God pervades everything, permeates everything. And God is the self in every being. When we think about the power, the attributes of the Supreme, we understand that nothing belongs to us. This I have been telling since I have started talking today, and I think from the last few sessions. We must remember that nothing belongs to us. Nothing we can control. Everything belongs to the Supreme Creator. We do not have any control over anything that we feel is ours. Neither our power, nor our possessions, nor our money, nor our family and people around us. Nothing. So, to be Nitya Yukta, this is what we have to remember always. I've been telling you, my dear children, whenever the mind is a little free, and we have free moments, while we are from one work, we are taking up another work, maybe we are dressing after bath, maybe when we are taking bath, sometimes we sit alone also, just before sleeping, when we just lie on the bed. All those moments are ours, where we are not active physically, where we are not talking to anybody. Why can we not remember these? We should remember, and we should thank God for all the opportunity that is being given. You know, this reading, listening, contemplating, meditating, being able to understand, being able to chant or teach, nothing will do unless through all these things we can remain Nitya Yukta. Through all these things, we must always feel the connectedness to God, connectedness to the self. Then alone, all the raga and dvesha will go, all the kartritva, the doer-ship will go, all the delusional clinging will go. The whole life will become an offering. The mind will become absolutely calm, and the self will be revealed. Whatever we do, any small work or big work, important work or no important work, or sometimes no work even, simply sitting quietly, we should feel we are Govinda Parirambhitaha, embraced by the Lord, the Supreme, the Brahman. This should be. So, this remembrance is a sadhana. This is the sadhana. The sadhana may have many things. To have this remembrance, we do many things. Our mind is chanchala, it goes to various things. To control it, to restrain it, we have some spiritual practices, some devotional practices. We have some austerities, we get up in the morning, then we have some spiritual or devotional routines. All that we try to do to focus the mind on this remembrance. On this remembrance. And when we do this sincerely, lovingly, this reflects when we are doing any work. Otherwise, during activity, the active moments and the hours of the day will be absolutely disconnected from the hours when we have connectedness with the Supreme or the Lord. So for a seeker, the remembrance has to be a sadhana. Remember what? Nothing. That I belong to God. I am the self. I am not this body. This nothing belongs to me. Keep on telling oneself. You know, the other day, a very old devotee of Swamiji, he is in touch with us. Very old associate also. For a long time, he has been listening to Swamiji, meeting Swamiji. He called and he was telling that, Swamiji, I've been listening to you for many, many years. And now in this COVID period, for the last 2 years, I've been listening. And all the 3 lectures, constantly listening to them and doing manana. The other day I felt, he says that he was born and his parents had given him some name, say X name. He is being called by that name. He himself was feeling that I am X, my name is this, I have got this position, I have got so much of property or fame, possessions. All these things he used to feel. That day he was saying that I was feeling all these things. But today I felt when I got up in the morning that I am not this person, I am the self. It has gone very deep into me. And I now feel that this, my parichaya, my identity, is not this with the name that I have been given by my parents. And whatever achievements I have had during my life, I am self and self alone. You know, he was sobbing and saying this to Swamiji. It was so sweet to hear. So sweet to hear. So this is what we should try. So now comes the sadhana, actually. In activity, we are forgetting. We are trying, but we are forgetting. The mind gets immersed in all kinds of details of the activities that we are doing. It may be just going to a market and buying things. It may be just cooking in the house or cleaning the rooms, washing the clothes. It may be in the office, in a very important position, sitting near the computer, business, a doctor, a lawyer, a professor, anybody doing their own job and profession. When we are active, we are not able to keep this thought in the mind, we forget. And we have seen that why do we forget? Not to forget, Krishna is telling how the work should be done. He says, Niyatam Sangarahitam Aragadveshata Kritam Aphala Karma Yattat Satwika Muchyate. Says that a work has to be done without delusional clinging and without raga and dvesha, preferences and prejudices, likes and dislikes, and without clinging to the result of phala-prepsuna. That kind of a work is called Satwika Karma. That is the best way that one can do the work, where the mind will remain calm. Whenever we do work, the mind gets agitated, thinking that whether something I'm able to do it properly, whether I'm doing it efficiently, whether the expected result will come, whether I'll be able to apply all my skill, whether after doing also whatever we expect doesn't happen. So naturally the mind is agitated. And when the mind is agitated, naturally the self also goes away. I think it gets afraid of our agitations, so it runs away. When we are not agitated, We can think of God, we can think of self, we can think of Brahman. But as soon as there is unpeace and agitation in the mind, I think self becomes very afraid and goes. So, this is the way, this is called Satwika Karma. And a karta, a doer, will be a Satwika doer when Mukha Sangha anahamvadi dhrityutsaha samanvitaha siddhya siddhyor nirvikaraha. I don't know. Yattat satvikam uchyate. Huh? Tattat satvikam uchyate. Huh? Karta satvikam uchyate. Karta satvikam uchyate. So, Mukha Sangho anahamvadi. Here also Mukha Sangha. You must not have Sangha, delusional clinging. What is this Sangha? Actually, always it is not the Sangha that we want a result. The Sangha is also that I am very good at this work. If I do it, it will be definitely a success. People will be praising me. Oh, if I do not do, then I will be getting a lot of comments and criticism from others. All these things, when we do the work, everything which agitates the mind and does not allow the mind to be restful is a Sangha for the work. So, Mukha Sangha. Who is a Mukha Sangha? The Mukha Sangha, he will be not having this clinging. He will give his best in the work, do absolutely well, not becoming, having any preferences or prejudices. And whatever result comes, he will accept it. Anahamvadi. So he will not have any kind of doer-ship feeling that I am doing this work, I know better, others are not able to do as good as I can do. All these feelings certainly remain there. Dhrityutsaha samanvitaha. Dhriti and utsaha samanvitaha. This dhriti, the will to do the work, and utsaha is enthusiasm. See, this dhriti and utsaha, see, when we take up a work, we are driven by this will and enthusiasm. There is a desire to do the work, and we will put in all our effort because of this dhriti and utsaha. That is the will and enthusiasm. But what kind of a dhriti and utsaha will be sattvika? Even when we know that the results may not be well, I may be criticized, I may give in all my effort, but things will not go well. Still, the will remains, will not give up. Still, the enthusiasm remains. It will not give up the enthusiasm. That is, that kind of a will, that kind of a dhriti and utsaha, that kind of a will and enthusiasm, which does not get affected by how the work is progressing or what the result has come out to be. It will still be enthusiastic and willing to take up the work, if necessary, a second time, not knowing whether it will be a failure again. So in success and failure, there won't be any loss of dhriti and utsaha. Siddhya siddhyor nirvikaraha. And naturally, for such a person, the Satwika Karta, he doesn't get affected by siddhi or asiddhi, success or failure. Because he has done the work to the best of his ability, joyously, with full mind, with full heart, and any work which is done, the result has to come. The completion of the work itself is the result. But whether the result will be according to what is expected, that nobody can say. So the Satwika Karta does not get affected. He is prepared to take any kind of result. His joy is in doing it properly and perfectly. So, this is what a seeker should know that when we are doing any action, we are in any activity, this is the way we should work. And what we should do? While doing any work, we should still keep our mind, make it an Abhyasa, a habit to remember and keep the mind in the self or Brahman. Just like I took this Shloka, Punkha Anupunkha. Sri Ramakrishna Dev used to say, from villages, some people will come to work in somebody's house in the cities. In his time, he's saying, maybe a lady has come from village, very poor lady, works in a family in the city. The family has got few children. She looks after them, cooks for them, bathes them, feeds them, all other household work she does. She loves these children very much. All that the children know, she will, when others come, she will show them that you know this, show them that you know this, as if the children belong to her only, as if the whole household which she is looking after, as a servant, as a maidservant alone, as if it is hers. But her mind will be in the village where she has left her family, her 2 children or 3 children, in the care of her old mother. She has come here because she is poor, she has to earn. She has come to the city. Though she is doing all the work, she doesn't forget that they are my own. I belong to that family. Everything that I am now getting, acquiring, possessing, earning, all is for them. She doesn't forget. This is what a seeker, a devotee should do. And there is that very beautiful example of the Gopikas where Krishna says about the Gopika, Ya dohane abahanane mathanopale paprenkenkhanar bharuditokshana marjanadau gayanti chainam anurakta dhiyoshru kanthyo dhanya vrajastriya urukramachittayana ya dohane abahanane mathanopale paprenkenkhanar bharuditokshana marjanadau gayanti chainam anurakta dhiyoshru kanthyo dhanya vrajastriya urukramachittayana. It is about the Gopikas. The Gopikas, they belong to the Vraja, the cowherd people. And what is the work there? All the work is around cows, then milk, then butter, ghee, and curd. So they have to do a lot of work around this. So this shloka is saying the everyday work of the Gopikas. It says the Gopikas, every day when they get up, they have to milk the cow. They have to milk the cows. Then they have to pound the paddy and make rice and wait. Morning when they get up, they sweep and mop and smear cow dung in the courtyard and other rooms. Then they milk the cows and keep it for boiling. Whatever curd they have made at night, they start churning that curd to get butter. Meanwhile, while they are engaged in all this work, their children sometimes will get up and start crying. Early in the morning, the children have got up, they were in the cradles. So, leaving everything, they'll go and cradle the children and make them sleep again. These are their everyday usual work. But Gayanti chaina manurakta dhiyo shrukantyo. They do all this work singing about Krishna, thinking about Krishna, Anurakta dhiyoshtu kantyo. And their voice is choked with anuraga for Krishna, love for Krishna. And because of that love, while they sing, their eyes are trickling. And because of that, what Vyasadeva is saying? Dhanya Brajastriya. They are the most fortunate women in this world. Why? Because doing their everyday work, they can still think of the Supreme Lord and get filled with the bliss of the Lord's embrace. So why can we not do it? Actually, I have asked it when we came to the ashram. I think I have told you many times before I joined the ashram, the period, at least 2-3 years or 3-4 years, were in intense sadhana, where a lot of works were simplified and social activities were simplified, social engagements were simplified. When we came here, it was work and work and work, that too domestic work from morning till night. So one day I asked Swamiji, how to remember God in the midst of all these activities? And then Swamiji sang this Shloka and said, why can you not do it if they have been able to do? So, for any seeker, it is an Abhyasa. Abhyasa. And Abhyasa becomes sweet when we love that Abhyasa. When we love that Abhyasa. Even eating also is an Abhyasa. We like it. That is why it becomes very sweet. If we are not given food, we will be very agitated. We will feel sorrow. We will start feeling very weak. Nothing will be interesting. We love it. So any Abhyasa should become sweet and sweeter every day. Now, today I will take up one shloka which I feel is very, very helpful to understand. What is this shloka? From Bhagavad Gita 3.30. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasyaadhyatma cetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasyaadhyatma cetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. My dear children, in Bhagavad Gita, there are many such shlokas. I think last time I took one from 18th chapter, Cetasa sarva karmani, mahi sanyasya matparaha, buddhi yogam upashritya, matchittas satatam bhava. It is similar. This is in 3rd. Then there is one in the 5th chapter, brahmanyadhaya karmani, sangam tyaktva karoti yaha, lipyate nasa papena padmapatraivam bhasa, which are guiding us how we, who are also active, should do our work. Now Krishna is telling Arjuna where? In the battlefield. He has to fight. He has become very crestfallen, very frightened, absolutely disinterested. So Krishna is giving him this Upadesha, Gita Upadesha. And Krishna is saying how any work should be done. Arjuna has to fight. Where? In the battlefield. I think all of us are fighting in the battle of life. Every day, so many problems will come, we have to solve all the problems. Sometimes big problems come, sometimes small problems. Sometimes the problems we solve very easily, sometimes the problems are huge. And we become depressed, frightened, anxious, terrified. This is our life. So it is similar. Whatever is necessary for Arjuna at that time, Krishna is telling. And all these are beneficial for us also. So, in this shloka, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasyadhyatma chetasa nirashihi nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. It says, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya, surrender all actions to me. Who is that me? Not this human Krishna. The Krishna who is identified with Brahman. He has become Brahman. Brahmavid Brahmaiva bhavati. He has all the characteristics of Brahman, the self. He, that Krishna, he is saying that surrender all actions unto me. Adhyatma chetasa, let the mind be imbued with spiritual attitude. What is this spiritual attitude? What is this spiritual attitude? The spiritual attitude is only this, to be understanding that I am mistakenly identified with my body-mind complex. I am the self and not this body, etc. I am changeless, imperishable, eternal, all-pervading. I am birthless, I am deathless. I cannot be divided, I cannot be destroyed. This is me, my true identity. And I must get established in that. That is the spiritual attitude. And thinking that this whole world is a display of that Brahman. This world is an idol created by God or Brahman. God is everywhere. He is inside me. These thoughts, this is the spiritual attitude. Adhyatma chetasa, not forgetting this. Offer your work, not forgetting this. And how do we offer? That we have discussed. How do we offer? What does offering mean? Not to have any kind of ownership. Understanding that doesn't belong to me. I am an instrument. God has made me an instrument to do various kinds of work. But neither my limbs, nor my mind, intelligence, my senses, my prana, my whole existence belong to me. So I have no ownership for these works. I do, no doubt. I do it very well. As Krishna says, Mukha Sangha samachara. Tasmad asakta satatam karyam karma karoti yaha. After that? Karyam karma asakta yacharan karma parama apnoti purushaha. Tasmad asakta satatam karyam karoti karyam karma samachara asakta yacharan karma paramapnoti purushaha. So, we should be doing the activities without any sakti, that is, without any clinging, possessiveness, attachment. And if we are able to do that, then paramapnoti purushaha, the supreme abode, the supreme one will be able to attain. That is what we want. We have forgotten that I am established always in the Supreme. We have forgotten that fact. And if we do our activities without any kind of delusional clinging, without Sangha, then Krishna promises, says that asakya kyacharan karma paramapnoti purusha. Whoever does, I know. So the spiritual attitude, we must offer our work. Whenever we are working, we have to, as a seeker, we have to remember, remind ourselves, constantly be watchful to see whether any kind of doer-ship is coming, whether any Sangha is there, delusional clinging is there, whether we are doing the work with likes and dislikes, preferences and prejudices. whether we are having samabhava towards success and failure. While doing work also, there will be always, everybody will not be doing the work alone, sometimes in a team. So whether all these things are coming and vitiating the mind, we have to see that. When the mind gets vitiated, the mind is restless, self will not be revealed. Mind has to be calm. I think all of us till now we have understand that the mind has to be restful, calm, tranquil. Then only that self which is always there will be revealed. So, let the mind be imbued with spiritual attitude. And then, nirashihi nirmamaha bhutva. Rid it of desires and possessiveness. And vigata jvaraha, free of agitation and worry. Yudhyasva, fight unwaveringly with confidence. Vigata jvaraha. What is the jvaraha? The jvaraha is again this I-ness and mine-ness, raga and dvesha, kama and krodha. Because of this I-ness and mine-ness, this likes and dislikes come, sangha come, delusional clinging, possessiveness comes, attachment comes, desire comes, then anger comes if the desires are not fulfilled, fear comes. All these are called jvara, worldliness. So be vigata jvaraha, be nirashihi, get rid of your desires, and nirmamaha, get rid of the possessiveness. Possessiveness comes from I-ness, the possessiveness comes as mine-ness. So, any seeker, where did we start? We want to become Nitya Yukta. See, let us not simply get immersed in the shloka. Where did we start? We say that any seeker, whatever he does, whether he is sitting quietly or active, we want to remain Nitya Yukta, ever connected, always remembering the true identity of oneself. And we are saying that in activity our mind just gets distracted. So we have understood how to do the work. And while doing the work, we know very well all these things just come in. Sangha, raga, dvesha, and worry about success and failure. All this come. So, for us to remember and remaining established in work, we have to constantly watch with viveka, with vichara. We have to constantly see whether we are being a victim of these, then get rid of them. Get rid of them. Be vigata jvaraha and fight. So for any activity, whether it is a very simple activity or it is a very difficult activity, a simple maybe a child or a student, everybody will have these problems. So whoever it is, for any action, we must try to do this. Now, this Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya, when any activity is done, what are the things used? We are the instruments. Our hands, feet, our mind, intelligence, senses, all these things are applied for any activity. The activity can be mental, intelligential, bodily, anything can be there. These are the instruments. That is why any seeker, a seeker who wants to have this Nitya Yuktata, should feel that all these things has been created by God I am an instrument of the Supreme, and I will use these instruments properly, efficiently, considering that the Supreme Master, who is the one who is making every activity done, he is the Supreme Master, and I am working only as an instrument or a servant. This feeling, so much of humility is necessary. We are always feeling, I am doing, I am doing, I am doing. And if things are well appreciated, then that feeling will be all the more. I have done. If it is not, things have not gone on well, then we try to blame many things, situations, people, the moods of everything, behavior of people, all these things. So the body, etc. are there, which are used. Then whatever work we are doing, the devices will be there. Say a doctor, a surgeon will have his devices. An agricultural person who is tilling the land will have his devices. A housewife will have her devices to cook the food. So all these devices will be there. The activity itself and oneself. So all these things together, we are doing any action. And all this belong to God. The mistake that we make is, a seeker makes, not mistake I should say, the difficulty which a seeker faces is that, in that, the opportunities that we get, we may say also, we say sometimes that God has given me so much opportunity, I've got this fortune to do these things, all these things we say. Thinking that all those have been given by God. All the facilities, the opportunities, everything God has given. The situations where we work. We find a difficulty to feel that I also belong to God. That I myself belong to God. That we do not remember. So, the physical offer is not an offering. When we firmly keep in mind, do not forget that everything belongs to God, this knowledge becomes firm in our mind, that becomes an offering. Now, objects, people, situation, incident, eligibility, efficiency, power, body, senses, mind, prana, intelligence, all these are perishable. All these are perishable. A seeker should never identify oneself with these. Should not be a slave to this. Should not develop fulfillment in attaining or achieving through these things. Suppose we'll be using all this and we will achieve some goal, something we want to earn or we want to achieve, maybe some job, some profession. But we should not have a feeling of fulfillment or a joy that through these I have gained something. When we do that, we get bound. That is, we are getting bound to success and failure. More and more desires then crop up. What we should look into is, so what I am saying, we should be very, very attentive to see that dislikes, delusional clinging, attachments, all those things should not come to us when we do any action. The spiritual attitude is to understand that through all these things, I am working only as an instrument. Nothing belongs to me and I am not a doer. The doer-ship should go. As long as the doer-ship is there, there will be suffering in the mind. As long as doer-ship is there, we get bound by success and failure. And success and failure is not in our hands. We must have an even attitude towards success and failure. Siddhya siddhyo nirvikaraha karta satwika uchyate. So, these things for any activity, my dear children, our spiritual activities are only maybe for 2 hours, maximum 3 hours. Rest of the time we are active in our own sphere. Whoever is doing whatever activity God has given in the whole day. We have to think about this. We must assimilate this. It should become our blood flow so that we can act according to this teaching of Krishna. Now, suppose it says, Nirashihi nirmamo bhutva. Krishna is saying, leave your desires. So the whole question comes then, is a very common question. How will we be inspired to do any activity if there is no desire? We should look at it in a different manner. In what manner? The manner is this. Commonly, ordinarily, people will act with desire. They do. And it is true. Only then when there is a desire to do a work, one feels driven to do that work. Only when one feels that this result will be good for me, one feels enthusiastic to do that work. But what about a seeker? What should a seeker do? The seeker should not work like that. For any seeker, the activity is only for Atma Shuddhi, for purity of the mind and intelligence. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalairindrayairapi yoginah karma kurvanti sangam tyaktva atma shuddhaye. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalairindrayairapi yoginah karma kurvanti sangam tyaktva atma shuddhaye. Sangam tyaktva, abandoning sangha, delusional clinging, yoginaha, yogis, the seekers, karma kurvanti, perform actions. Kevalaihi kayena manasa buddhya, only with their body, mind, intelligence and senses they are working. Very, very simple, we know, it is a known truth. But for what? Atma Shuddhai. Any seeker, everything should become sadhana. And sadhana is for what? For the purity of the mind. Ultimate purity is what? To remove this mistaken identity that I am the body. Ultimate purity is that. To remove the feeling that I am the doer, I am the karta. To remove the feeling, these feelings. So a seeker, if you are a seeker, my dear children, I feel all of you are seekers. So many months have passed and we have been talking to you. And many of you write to us your feelings, your improvements, your transformations, your transformed attitude towards its world and life. We understand. Most of you are seekers. Maybe some may be walking a little ahead in the path, and some may be a little lagging behind. But all of you are seekers who are wanting to tread this path. Reach somewhere where maybe nobody knows where to reach, but at least this aim is there, that I must know the self and become fearless in life, become everlastingly peaceful and happy, become unaffected in life. I think all of you want it. Everybody wants. Even the common, ordinary people who are not spiritual, they also want it, but they do not know this way. But having been seekers and having known about this self-knowledge and what this knowledge can give, I think this should be the attitude of all of you. What? Every activity should be done for the purity of the mind and intelligence. Atma Shuddhi. Atma Shuddhi. When we are doing work with body, with our mind, our intelligence, with our senses, anything that we do should give us an expansion of the mind, should take away Sangha from our mind, to take away the raga and dvesha, likes and dislikes from the mind, take away the kartritva bodha, the doer-ship from the mind. This should happen. This should happen. The seekers have to work like that. So, when work is done in that manner, with that kind of attitude, a yogi, a seeker, Atma Shuddhi will come. The doer-ship will not remain anymore. As long as a seeker considers his body, mind, etc. to belong to him, he will not be able to remove the desire for the results. Very naturally, he feels that I am doing the work, so I should get this result also. But when he does not have any belonging feeling about his body, mind, intelligence, senses which are working, and he is working without delusional clinging to them, when that belongingness falls, the Sangha also will fall. And spontaneously, naturally, the doer-ship also will fall. And what will happen? Identification with this body-mind also will fall. But it will not happen with just only one piece of work. It will happen when we practice it, doing everything throughout the day, whatever we do, remembering this, sometimes forgetting this. Whenever we remember, we remember. Whenever we have forgotten, maybe later we will remember. Then offer all those things to God, saying that you have made me remember, you have made me forget, everything is yours. I only want this purity of Atma. I want to have Atma Shuddhi, Bhava Shuddhi, so that this identification that I have with this body is removed forever. For that, please bring enough work, lots of works, various work, give me various situations, give me various people to work with different nature. Whatever I do with my body, mind, senses, etc., let me be working without Sangha, and let me be purified, refined. This a yogi will say, a seeker will say, and he has to say. Then only we will, in the non-spiritual hours also. What are the non-spiritual hours? The hours which are not spent in spiritual activities like meditating, contemplating, reading, listening, reflecting. In the non-spiritual activities also, which we generally consider as the worldly affair, the worldly hours of our day, will also become spiritual if we can work with this attitude. So our non-spiritual hours, where we are active maybe in the domestic sphere or in the professional sphere. The domestic spheres, the professional spheres, the societal spheres, everywhere, as we will be working, if we work like this, how? Offering the work with adhyatma chetasa, with a spiritual attitude, to remove all desires, to remove all sangha, clinging, to remove all kinds of mindness, to remove all kinds of possessiveness, and with a feeling that everything belongs to the Supreme alone. Nothing belongs to me, I am just an instrument working. Then every activity, every other time of the day will become spiritual and divine. Okay. I think the next week will be the last session before the Global Gita Convention. There I will read out what Swamiji has to say, my conversation with Swamiji regarding this, who is a Satwika Karta, Satwika Karma, what is offering, what is this offering meant by Adhyatma Chetasa, spiritual offering of karma with spiritual attitude, and I think will be very much enlightened what Swamiji has told. Sampurnam Jagadeva Nandanavanam Sarvepi Kalpadrumaha Gangam Vari Samasta Vari Nivaha Punyas Samastah Kriyah Vacha Prakrita Samskrita Shruti Shiro Varanasi Medini Sarvavasthitirasya Vastu Vishaya Drishte Parabrahmani Sarvavasthitirasya Vastu Vishaya Drishte Parabrahmani. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru.